Suppose if you are placing object close to your eye, what happens? Will be able to see clearly? No. It should be kept at a distance of 25 centimeter to infinity. That is our vision range. Why ascending order of wavelength? Wavelength maximum is written last. So it is ascending order of wavelength. Why descending order of frequency? Minimum frequency is written last. Light is scattered by only by what? Very small particle in the path of the light ray. So students, we are starting new chapter. What is our chapter name? Human eye and colorful world. See, so what are the key concepts in this chapter? So at first, we will be discussing about human eye. So what are the different parts of human eye? See, this topic is a biology topic. What is the structure of human eye? But still, we will explain. So different parts are, you can see ciliary muscles here. Retina, this part is called retina where image is formed. Then optical nerve that goes to brain. Then vitreous humor, it's a jelly type thing inside our eye. Cornea, okay, from a dead person we take what? Cornea and we transfer it to another person who is having eye problem. Iris, this is iris, this is cornea, and pupil, this is pupil. Then aqueous humor, this jelly type, fluid type. Then crystalline lens, this is crystalline lens. This you have to draw, you have to by heart this. Okay, an extremely valuable and sensitive sense organ that enables us to see. So with the help of eye, we are able to see. Functions like a camera. It functions like a camera. Forms images on a light sensitive screen. So what is that light sensitive screen? Retina. A human eye forms image on the retina. Approximately spherical with a diameter of 2.3 centimeter. Approximately it is almost spherical with the, what is the diameter of human eye? 2.3 centimeter. Let's move to the next page. Structure of a human eye, cornea. The transparent bulge on the front surface where light enters. So light enters to human eye through cornea, iris. Next one, iris. The dark muscular diaphragm that controls the size of the pupil. Okay, dash part of human eye controls the size of the pupil. What is the answer? Iris. Iris controls the size of the pupil. Pupil, opening that regulates the amount of light entering into the eye. See, cornea is the surface through which light enters. The how much amount is entering our eye, that is controlled by pupil. Amount of light controlled by pupil, light enters through cornea. That is the difference between pupil and cornea. Eye lens. Crystalline lens that focuses light on the retina. Eye lens is what? Crystalline lens that focuses light on the retina. Retina, light sensitive membrane which with cells that generate electrical signals. So when light falls on retina, this retina is having certain special type of cells that generate electrical signals according to the light falling on the retina. So retina contains special cells which will generate electrical signals according to the light falling on it. Then optical nerve, this transmits signal from retina to the brain. Ciliary muscles controls the curvature of the eyelids. So eyelids curvature controlled by ciliary muscles. Optical nerve transmits signal from retina to brain. Retina is having cells that converts optical signals into electrical signals. It is the retina where light falls. Eye lens, what is the role of eye lens? It's a crystalline lens that focuses light on the retina. Pupil controls the light entering the eye. Light enters the eye through cornea. Iris is what? Dark muscular diaphragm that controls the size of the pupil. Okay. Then, structure of human eye. First one, power of accommodation. Very important. Ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length. See, now I am simply looking at my hand. Now, I am having a small ring in my finger. Now, I am focusing onto that ring. If this is done by a mobile, you have to zoom in and zoom out. That zoom in and zoom out is done by eye itself. You don't have to switch you don't have to move a knob or something. Our eye adjusts focal length by itself. This is called the power of accommodation. Very important point. Ability of the eye to adjust focal length by itself. By itself. You don't have to move anything. Simply eye can adjust focal length by itself. That is called the power of accommodation. Achieved by changing the curvature of the lens using ciliary muscle. So how it is done with the help of ciliary muscle? How it is done by ciliary muscle? Because it varies the curvature of lens. So power of accommodation is done by ciliary muscles by varying the curvature of the lens. For distant object, ciliary muscle relax. Lens becomes thin, focal length increases. If you are seeing distant object, what happens? Ciliary muscles relax, focal length increases, lens becomes thin. But if you are concentrating on a nearby object, what happens? Ciliary muscles contract. Distant object, ciliary muscle relax. What happens? Ciliary muscle relax. What happens? Lens becomes thin, focal length increases. For nearby object, what happens? Ciliary muscles contract, lens becomes thick. What happens? Focal length decreases. For distant object, ciliary muscle relax, lens becomes what? Thin, focal length increases. For nearby object, what happens? Ciliary muscles contract, lens becomes what? Thick, focal length decreases. Distant object, focal length increases. Nearby object, focal length decreases. That is the point. Has a limit. Object too close appear blurred. Suppose I want to concentrate on my hand, then or on my palm. Should I keep my palm like this? No, it will give a blurred image. Okay, so there is a limit up to which you can see an object clearly. So that is the reason why we are writing this line. Has a limit. Power of accommodation has a limit. Object too close appear blurred. Object kept too close appear blurred. So, okay. So, what is power of accommodation? Ability of the eye to adjust focal length by itself. How it is done? Achieved by changing the curvature of what? Of the lens using what? Ciliary muscles. If you are watching distant object, what happens? Focal length decreases. Distant object focal length increases. Nearby object focal length decreases. For distant object, what? Ciliary muscle relax. What? Lens becomes thin. Nearby object, what happens? Ciliary muscles contract. Lens becomes thick. Okay. Then important point, near point or least distance or distinct vision, which is a very important point. See, if you want to see an object clearly, that object should be kept at a distance of 25 centimeter from your eye. If you want to see an object clearly, that object should be kept at a distance of 25 centimeter from your eye. That distance is called what? Near point. Okay, for normal, a person with a normal eyesight. Far point, farthest point up to which I can see an object clearly. What is far point? It is a farthermost point up to which an eye can see object clearly. It is infinity for normal eye. That means I should be able to, suppose I am having normal eyesight, I should be able to see very far away object, because far away point for a normal eyesight is what? Infinity. Normal I can see object clearly from 25 centimeter to infinity. So what is the normal eye range, vision range? From 25 centimeter to infinity. Suppose if you are placing object close to your eye, what happens? Will be able to see clearly? No. It should be kept at a distance of 25 centimeter to infinity. That is our vision range. Don't keep object too close. That will produce strain to your eyes. Because we have seen when the object is closer, ciliary muscle, what happens? It contracts. Focal length decreases. Muscles become thicker. Okay, that we have seen. Next, defects of vision and their correction. First defect is myopia or nearsightedness, or in general term we call it as short sight. That means we are able to see nearby object, but we are not able to see far away object. See, this is the myopia. Nearby object, no problem. But what about the far point of a myopic eye? This is a myopic eye. See, myopic eye. Correction for myopia. What we are using? We are using what lens? This is a concave lens. What is concave lens? Diverging lens. What is the solution for myopia? Diverging lens. See, far point of a myopic eye. This is a far point. Again, myopic eye. So there is a problem with the light rays coming from a far away point. So how it is solved? We are solving it with a what lens? Concave lens or what? Diverging lens. Okay. Okay. First A, B myopic eye and see the correction of myopia with the help of concave lens. See, when we use a concave lens, see, image is correctly formed at the retina. What happens here what happens on a myopic eye here? Here, my image is in front of the retina. Actually, image should be what? On the retina. But what is the problem with the myopic eye? Image is in front of retina at this point. But actually, what is our preference and what we want? Image to be formed on the retina. Here it is before the retina, the rays are converging. So that is a problem with the myopic eye. And what is the solution? Concave lens or diverging lens. Any doubt? So this diverging lens makes sure that the image is formed on the retina. See, here it is not formed on the retina. By using a correcting lens, we are making sure that image is formed on the retina. Myopic eye and the correction for myopia with a concave lens. Concave lens is diverging lens. Okay. Defect. Can see nearby object clearly but not distant object. Causes what? Excessive curvature of eye lens. What is the cause of nearsightedness or short-sightedness? Excessive curvature of eye lens. What is the second cause? Elongation of eyeball. Eyeball becomes stretched, elongated. Image formation. Image of distant object forms in front of retina. What is our preference? Image should be on the retina. But what is the problem of a myopic eye? Image in front of retina. How it is corrected? Concave lens of suitable power. What is concave lens? Diverging lens. Next is hypermetropia. Hypermetropia, another name far-sightedness or long-sightedness. Long-sightedness. See, what is the problem? Near point of a hypermetropic eye. So, nearby object, what happens? It does not, actually this is the actual case, but what is the problem with the hypermetropic eye? See, near point, and light ray from nearby object, what happens? It is formed, it is converging behind the retina. For normal vision, image should be on the retina. So, image is behind the retina for a hypermetropic eye. So, what we are doing? We are using a convex lens or diverging lens. So, what is done by this diverging lens? It measures that it converges light ray and measures that image is formed on the retina. Correction of hypermetropic eye. The hypermetropic eye and the correction for hypermetropia. What is N? Near point of a hypermetropic eye. N dash is what? Near point of a normal eye. See, n dash is what? Normal eye. What is n? Near point of a hypermetropic eye. N dash is the case of what? Normal eye. But what is the problem of a hypermetropic eye? Near point is what? Here. N. So how we are correcting that? With the help of what? Convex lens or diverging lens. Remember, N is what? Hypermetropic eye. What is N dash? Normal eye. N dash is normal eye, but what is the problem with the hypermetropic eye? Image is formed behind the retina. That is for hypermetropic eye, long sightedness, far sightedness. For short sight or myopia, image is formed in front of retina. Please note the difference. It's a very important question. Defect. Can see distant object clearly but not nearby object. Causes. Focal length of eye lens is too long or eyeball too small. What are the two causes for hypermetropia? Focal length of eye lens too long, eyeball too small. Focal length too long, eyeball too small. These are the two reasons for hypermetropia which you have to by heart. Image formation. Image of nearby object forms behind the retina. Correction, convex lens or converging lens. Or convex lens or converging lens. Let's see. Next is presbyopia. What is presbyopia? Decrease in the power of lens due to aging. Decrease in the power of a lens due to aging. Power of accommodation. What is power of accommodation? Ability of the eye to adjust focal length by itself. That capacity is getting reduced due to aging when we get aged. Cause. What is the cause? Gradual weakening of ciliary muscles and diminishing flexibility of eyelids. Ciliary muscle, we know that when we get aged, muscles will be weakened. So, due to the gradual weakening of ciliary muscles and diminishing flexibility of eyelids are the reason for presbyopia. Symptoms. Difficulty in seeing nearby objects. Difficulty in seeing nearby objects. Then correction. Convex lens of suitable power. What is the correction? How to solve that? Convex lens, that is what? Diverging lens. Oh, sorry, what I am writing? Convex lens means what? Converging. Convex lens means converging. So presbyopia and hypermetropia, both the solution is what? Convex lens, that is converging lens. Person may suffer from both myopia and hypermetropia, may require bifocal length. Very important. If there are person who is suffering from both myopia and hypermetropia, what is the solution? Bifocal lens. What is the solution for presbyopia? Convex lens, converging lens. What is the solution for hypermetropia? Convex lens, converging lens. What is the solution for myopia? Concave lens or diverging lens. What is the reason for presbyopia? Gradual weakening of ciliary muscles and losing flexibility of eye lens. What is this defect? Decrease in power of accommodation due to aging. Now, prism and dispersion of light. See, there is a prism and a white light is entering the prism. What happens? That white light getting split into individual colors. Why? Because we are seeing a color pattern of VIBGYOR. What is this VIBGYOR? Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. This is VIBGYOR. This splitting of light into individual colors is called a dispersion. What is dispersion? Splitting of light into individual colors. Splitting of light into individual colors is called dispersion. Is called what? Dispersion. Okay. Splitting of light into individual colors is called dispersion. So prism is a dispersive medium. Okay, what happens? What you are understanding from this figure, we are understanding that white light is not a monochromatic. White light is not monochromatic means what? Monochromatic means single color. If white light was a single color, there will not be any splitting of white light, two different colors. So when we allow white light to fall on a prism at an angle, what we are seeing? Different colors. That means white light is not monochromatic or single color. Rather, white light is polychromatic. That means what? Multiple colors are there starting from violet to red. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay, see here we are having two prisms. What happens? First incident white light is getting split into individual colors Vibgyor. Then again we are using an inverting prism. So inverting prism makes sure that these individual colors are what? It again combined to single white light. So through this experiment with the help of two prism, we are making sure that what? There are only 7 colors in white light. With the help of these two inverting prism, we are understanding that there are only 7 colors in white light. What are they? Violet, indigo, green, blue, yellow, orange, red. Okay. So we are using two prism. First prism splits white light into 7 colors. Second prism combines these 7 colors to a single color. I hope it is clear. Recombination of the spectrum of the white light. Spectrum means what? It is why we call it spectrum. Because each color is having its own wavelength and frequency. By spectrum means what? It's a combination of different frequencies or different wavelength. Because each color is having its own frequency or its own wavelength. Rainbow. See rainbow and rainbow formation. See, sunlight is coming to a water drop. This is a water drop. Sunlight is coming to a water drop. See, what happens here? Refraction. This is refraction. Here, reflection. Then again what? Refraction. So, what happens in rainbow? 2 refraction and 1 reflection. It's a 3-step process. Refraction, here it should be reflection. Reflection, refraction, reflection, refraction. For rainbow, if you want to see clearly rainbow, then sun should be behind the observer. Suppose I am watching rainbow, then sun should be behind me. And there should be slight drizzle or water content in the atmosphere. Then only you can see rainbow. Okay. If you go to Adirappalli waterfalls, then you can see rainbow sometimes at the rainy time. Okay, let's see. When the white light passes through prism, it split into its component colors. What are the component colors? Vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. This phenomenon is called dispersion. The band of colors is obtained is called what? Spectrum. Spectrum means having different colors. Each color have its own frequency, its own wavelength. The sequence of color in the correct order is what? Vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Different colors of light bend through different angles with respect to the incident ray. Violet bends the most and red the least. See, in the rainbow figure, the bending of different colors is different. Okay, so violet bends most. Violet bends most. Red bends least. And remember, violet has maximum frequency, minimum wavelength. red has minimum frequency, maximum wavelength. And do remember, scattering or deviation of light is inversely proportional to wavelength. Inversely proportional to what? Wavelength. That means if a particular color of light is having large wavelength, it will be less scattered and less deviated. So out of this VIBGYOR, you should remember the order as violet, maximum frequency, minimum wavelength, lambda. Wavelength is denoted by lambda. This symbol is pronounced as lambda. This symbol is frequency symbol is nu. It is nu, which represents frequency. So red is having what? Red is having minimum frequency, maximum wavelength. Now remember, what is this order? This is the descending order of frequency. This violet VIBGYOR is what? Descending order of frequency or ascending order of wavelength. Descending order of frequency or ascending order of wavelength. It is the descending order of frequency or what? Ascending order of wavelength. Why ascending order of wavelength? Wavelength maximum is written last. So it is ascending order of wavelength. Why descending order of frequency? Minimum frequency is written last. So what? Descending order of frequency. It's very important. Now some of you might not be aware what is frequency, what is wavelength. See, this is one crust and one trough. Listen, crust, trough. One crust plus one trough is equal to one cycle. So let this time be 1 second. Time period 1 second. In the same time, there is another wave which is having another wave which is having what? How many frequency? One crust, one trough, one cycle, two cycle, three cycle, four cycle. So what is the definition of frequency? Frequency is the number of cycles per second. Number of cycles per second. Unit is hertz. Unit is hertz. So how many cycles are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the frequency? 4 hertz. What is the frequency? 4 hertz. How many cycles are here? One crust, one trough. Frequency 1 hertz. Here frequency 1 hertz, here frequency 4 hertz. Now what is wavelength? Wavelength is the distance between consecutive crust or consecutive trough. Consecutive crust or consecutive trough. See, when I draw this figure, The next cycle will come here. Though this will be has to be lambda wavelength or distance between trough or crust lambda. But here what happens? Crust are so close, so lambda is small. So you are understanding when lambda is small, frequency is high. In the second figure, first figure what happens? Lambda is high but frequency is low. So what is the relation between frequency and wavelength? Frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional, no directly proportional to 1 by lambda. When frequency decreases, wavelength increases. First case. When here what I have written is wrong. Here what happens? Frequency increases. What happens to wavelength? Here what happens? When frequency increases, wavelength decreases. See here frequency is high, so wavelength is what? Small. So what is the relation between frequency and wavelength? They are inversely proportional. Nu equal to V by lambda. V is what? Velocity of the wave. So what is V? Nu lambda. What is V? Velocity of the wave. What is V? Velocity of the wave. V is equal to what? Nu lambda, where nu is what? Frequency, lambda is wavelength. Okay. So which color is bends maximum? Violet. Why? Because wavelength of light violet is small. Which color bends least? Red. Why? Because red is having what? Maximum wavelength. Next, effect of atmospheric refraction. Very, very important point. Twinkling of stars. Twinkling of stars. Stars appear to twinkle due to refraction of starlight through atmosphere. So refraction we have seen, bending of light ray. Dude, when the light ray from the star goes past the atmosphere, it is passing through different regions of varying refractive index. Due to the varying refractive index, we appear, for us, star appear at this position. So why there is a variation of position? Because refractive index is increasing as we move from star to our eye. The light ray is coming from star to our eye. So as light ray passes, it goes through a region of varying refractive index or increasing refractive index. Because at this place it is vacuum. So what? So what happens? So light ray is passing from vacuum to what? Atmosphere. So what happens? Refractive index increases. So speed of light decreases. Okay. Refraction of light caused by Earth atmosphere occurs due to the changing of refractive index in different air layers. Why there is atmospheric refraction? Why there is atmospheric refraction? Why the position of stars changes? That is the reason why we think that stars twinkle. Actually, stars doesn't twinkle. It is due to atmospheric refraction. Why atmospheric refraction happens? Because the variation in refractive index. As the light rays moves from star to our eyes, what happens? What happens? Refractive index what? What happens? It increases. So speed of light decreases. Stars appears to twinkle due to refraction of starlight through atmosphere. Atmospheric condition cause the apparent position of the star to fluctuate. It is due to atmospheric refraction. Why atmospheric refraction? Because as we move from star, as the light ray move from star to our eyes, what happens? Refractive index increases, speed of light decreases. Planets do not twinkle because they are very closer and appear as what? Extended sources. Why planets do not twinkle? Because planets are very closer to us and they act as extended sources. Now, again, another example for effect of atmospheric refraction. advanced sunrise and delayed sunset. See, this is horizon. If at the time of sunrise, sun is coming from behind the horizon. So even though sun is at this position or below the horizon, due to atmosphere refraction, the sun appears to be above the horizon. The exact opposite happens at sunset. At sunset, even though sun goes down below the horizon, still due to atmosphere refraction, sun appears to be above the horizon. Atmosphere refraction effect is what? Early sunrise and delayed sunset, or advanced sunrise and delayed sunset. Okay, this is horizon. Actual sun is below the horizon, but due to atmosphere refraction, what we are for us, sun appears to be above the horizon. So we are getting early sunrise. At sunset time, what happens? Sun is going below the horizon, but still for us, sun appears to be above the horizon for a certain period of time. So we are getting what? Delayed sunset. Okay. Sun is visible about 2 minutes before the actual sunrise and after actual sunset due to refraction of sunlight through atmospheric. So what is the reason for advanced sunrise, delayed sunset? Atmospheric refraction makes the sun visible even when it is slightly below the horizon. Makes the sun visible even when it is slightly below the horizon. Now, listen, there was a question. Due to atmospheric refraction, length of the day increases by dash minute. Morning time there is a 2-minute advanced sunrise. Evening time there is a delayed sunset of 2 minutes. So what is total increase in length of the day? 4 minutes. It's a previous board question. Atmospheric refraction at sunrise and sunset. Scattering of light. The phenomenon of spreading of light in different directions by particles present in its path. What is scattering? The phenomenon of spreading of light in different direction by particles present in its path. That you have seen in canopy of forest. Okay, that you can see, because small dust particle in air, no, they will scatter the light, they will spread out light. This spreading of light by very small particles present in the path of the light ray is called scattering. Again, I am repeating, the phenomenon of spreading of light or scattering of light in different direction by particles present in its path is called what? Scattering of light. This spreading of light is called scattering. So, what is the reason for scattering of light? Because particles present in the path of the light scatters the light. Now listen, this scattering of light is done by only colloidal particle. Colloidal means what? Very small particle. Big particles cannot scatter light. Light is scattered by only by what? Very small particle in the path of the light ray. Colloidal means very small particle. Tyndall effect. Scattering of light by colloidal particles making the path of light visible. Can be observed when sunlight passes through a forest or when a beam of light enters a dusty room. Suppose there is a very dusty room, and when the light ray comes, no, in the light ray we can see particles, different particles. Okay, suppose there is a glass, you can see light ray coming through the, you can see light ray coming through the, you can see light ray coming through the glass. Then what happens? Different particles you can see in the path of the light ray. This effect is called a Tyndall effect. Again, this is done by either, whether it is scattering of particle or Tyndall effect, these effects are done by only small particles, very small particles. Large particle cannot scatter the light. Can be observed when sunlight passes through a forest, when a beam of light enters a dusty room. Okay, this effect is called what? Tyndall effect. It also shown by canopy of forest. Canopy of forest. Okay. Canopy of forest you might have seen as a screensaver when light at the early morning time, no, through forest with the fog and everything, you can see canopy of forest. It is used as screensaver. Why is the sky is blue? Why sky is blue? Why sky is blue? Air molecules and other fine particles in the atmosphere scatter sunlight. See, scattering is maximum for low wavelength and minimum for high wavelength. That is a very important point. Scattering, shorter wavelength, that is what blue light are scattered more than longer wavelength. Scattering is maximum for smaller wavelength and minimum for higher wavelength Okay, shorter wavelength, that is blue light are scattered more than the longer wavelength, that is red light. Scattered blue light enters our eye from all directions, making the sky appear blue. See, why sky is blue? During daytime, sun is close to the observer. So what are the longer wavelength? Violet, indigo, blue. The ineffect color of violet, indigo, blue is blue, which is lower wavelength. So it is scattered by atmospheric particle to all directions. So that blue color spread in the atmosphere. Okay, that is called what? Scattering. Okay, a higher altitude like in aeroplanes, the sky appears darker because there are few particles to scatter light. If you are going in an aeroplane at a very high altitude, what happens? Sky is appearing darker because at high altitude there are no particles to scatter light. So sky will what? Will be darker. Okay. So scattering is done by small particles. Then remember, lower the wavelength of light, higher will be the scattering. Higher the wavelength, lower will be scattering. So violet scatters most, red scatters least because violet is having low wavelength, red is having large wavelength. Why is the sun red at the sunrise and sunset? Remember, sunrise and sunset time, sun is at maximum distance from the observer. So light have to travel this much large distance. So the smaller wavelength, the violet, indigo, blue gets scattered away while going through this large distance. So only rays that reaches our eyes traveling this large distance is what? Yellow, orange, red. Whose ineffect color is what? Yellow, orange, red. Ineffect color is what? Red. That is the reason why sun is seen in red color in sunrise and sunset time. Let's see. At sunrise and sunset, sunlight travels a longer path through the atmosphere because sun is at what is the reason? Sun is at a maximum distance from the observer. Sun is at a maximum distance from the observer. Maximum distance from the observer. Most of the blue light gets scattered away. Only the least scattered light, that is red, reaches our eyes, making the sun appear red. Application. Correction of vision defects. Myopia corrected by what? Concave lens. That is what? Concave lens diverging. Hypermetropia corrected by what? Convex lens, that is converging. And presbyopia corrected by bifocal lens. Presbyopia is a combination of like what? Both short sight and long sight. It is corrected by bifocal lens. Rainbow formation. Natural spectrum formed by dispersion of sunlight by water droplets. Involves refraction will be there, dispersion will be there, and internal reflection in water droplets. That we have seen. First refraction, then reflection, then again refraction. 2 refraction, 1 reflection. In rainbow, 2 refraction, 1 reflection, and the general phenomenon is dispersion. Appears in the direction opposite to the sun. Suppose I want to see rainbow, sun should be behind me. I told you. What is meant by power of accommodation of the eye? What is the answer? The ability of the eye, to adjust focal length, by itself, is called the power of accommodation. Ability of the eye to adjust focal length by itself is called power of accommodation. Okay. What is the far point? Infinity. And near point of human eye? 25 centimeter. Okay. A student has difficulty reading the blackboard while sitting in the last row. So distance is more. The student is not able to see distant object clearly. What is the problem? Nearsightedness. What could be the defect the child is suffering from? Short sight. Another name is what? Nearsightedness. What is the solution? Myopia. What is the problem? Myopia. How can it be corrected? Use what lens? Concave lens. Or what? Concave lens or diverging lens. Because he is not able to see far away. Blackboard is, student is sitting at the back bench. So what happens? Far away points are not clear. So nearby objects are clear. So it is what? It is what? Nearsightedness or what? Myopia or short sight. What is solution? Concave lens or diverging lens. Here image is what? Image in front of retina. Image in front of retina.